Towards the south in Magadi, it is suspected. Towards Lake Mbogoria, it is suspected, but it has not been confirmed. And therefore, we intended to run the model to see if our model will show us whether indeed it is possible for us to have those flows. Next, please. So that's the conceptual model. And then next is we have to do the numerical model. Next, please. And that is a setup of the numerical model. For the numerical model, you need to identify the number of layers that you are using and why you need those layers, or discretization in the vertical direction. Also, you have to determine your boundaries. So we used the eastern flank of the Rift Valley and the western flank of the Rift Valley. But for the north and south, we used constant head boundaries, which is a section of Turkana in the north and a section of Magadi in the south. And then we defined our model, but the layers were based on the DEM, which is also important in GIS. Next, please. So results of this model, after it was properly calibrated, showed that yes, it is possible for us to model these rivers, the groundwater flow system in the Rift Valley based on the stages of the lakes. And if you look at the table in the top right, it shows that there was fairly good balance in what is observed in the field and what the model was also able to show us. So the model was fairly well calibrated for the lake stages, as well as in the second one we are showing the observed water rest levels in the boreholes. So for objective one, our model was assessed, and the model showed in the model assessment that the model is fairly good. And then the model showed us in the bottom left here that it's possible for us to have the results of horizontal permeability or the hydraulic conductivity, and you can categorize them using those colors, and also show us the sub-model. I will go into details if someone will be interested with questions. Next, please. For objective number 2, we wanted to determine whether there is indeed flow from our model towards the north and flow towards the south. And it was observed using those dark lines. Those dark lines are below Lake Naivasha. So if you look at it, and then those green, yellow, red, those are the layers of the model. Each one of them is about 100 meters thick. And the model was able to show us that indeed there is flow, using those dark lines that are moving down, that there is flow both ways, that is northwards and southwards from Lake Naivasha at the center. And the first image on your left, is also showing you from plan view that it's possible for you to see those flows from Naivasha, how they are moving northwards and southwards. Next, please. Also, that besides the regional fluxes, which are flows that are deep-seated flows, we also have what we call as local flows. And these local flows are important because they can show us things like there's a spring that is at Lake Nakuru. And it's possible that we can see that spring even from those flows. And that water does not come all the way from Naivasha, but that water comes from local fluxes. Next, please. And therefore, finally, the results, the overall model would be that although we had suspected flows towards Lake Bogoria and Baringo, in this model, it's possible that now the lines that were dotted because they were suspected now are solid, because it has been confirmed from our model that it's possible water from Naivasha is going all the way northwards towards Baringo. And also, the suspected one towards Magadi is also now a solid line. Therefore, means that it is possible, although the evidence, isotopic evidence has not been found because perhaps the water is too much diluted by the time it gets there. Next, please. So, in conclusion, and particularly for this forum, is to tell people that while it is difficult to use remote sensing to do groundwater modeling because the satellites cannot be able to penetrate the earth except for GRESS the gravity mission, most other satellites can barely scratch the surface of the Earth because they cannot penetrate. But we can still use GIS and remote sensing by preparing the files that are required for modeling. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Patrick. You can stay with me. Maybe there's some questions that are coming. First one will be from me. I would like to know how you estimated the upper boundary condition for the groundwater flow model. We have done that before. It has been a quite challenge. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Wara. This was a regional model, and therefore we needed you in developing your model. You must define your boundaries, and